on live, and we shall continue the session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Let's start with the Mangalacharan, and then we shall resume and we shall start a new topic today, which is really. Let's start the Mangalacharan.
Ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshuranmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Ayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swadadantikam Vandeham Shri Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam
Sagrajatam Sahagana Sadhuvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancha Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sudai Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, sab brand ki jai, jai jai Shri Hare Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Right, so let's continue our discussion on Goloka chart. So we started in Goloka chart. We said that we have spiritual and material worlds both described. So both are covered. We have material world, which is referred as Devi Dham at the bottom, and this is something we will cover later. Then we have Mahesh Dham, Shiv Loka, and we might cover that today because that's where we are. Hari Dham, Vaikuntha. Usually when we say Hari, then we usually refers to Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu's Dham, Vaikuntha, we have been discussing for past few weeks. So today we will move on to Mahesh Dham in between Brahman effulgence. That's what we will discuss. We are going to discuss Brahman. Ayodhya, Lord Ram's place, we have discussed, and Goloka Krishna's place, we have discussed Goloka Vrindavan as well. So let's move on to Brahma Jyoti. What is Brahma Jyoti? Now, Brahma Jyoti is a very renowned name because a lot of times, even in the material world, people take this name a lot. Even though we take this name, we might not understand the true meaning of it. For example, somebody said to me recently that her guru now is Brahm Leen. So Leen is like merge, and Brahma is a Brahm. Well, when she said so she said in Hindi that my guru is now Brahm Leen. And I said, what do you mean by Brahm Leen? And she said, I don't know, must be gone to Brahma. I said, who is Brahma? Is it Brahma Ji or something else? She said, he's with the God now. So I asked a few more questions just to understand, because different school of thoughts in India, in Vedic culture, they have different understandings. And that's the reason that I asked the questions. But the understanding wasn't there. Then Brahm Kumari, another good friend of mine, he's a follower of Brahm Kumari. And there are many doubts there, which I could not get clarified. So it's what I understand is what's given in Vedas, in Upanishads, or like all the references we gave before we started Goloka chart, the very first session. The list of Gaudiya books, list of Vedic Shastra, list of Vaishnav, they all give this information about Brahmjyoti, what we're going to use. Otherwise, and in that respect, if we hear the word Brahmleen, we can understand. We can understand what those people are referring to, and that's all good. There's no contradictions there. But when we ask them, then we don't get the answers. So not sure where the gap is. Maybe the gap is that the teacher, the spiritual master, he goes away, and then people get the information later. Yes, Mataji, please.
Yes, Prabhuji. I thought because Brahmlin, so many people said that they have become, whoever passed away, have become Brahmlin. I thought people mean when they say Brahmlin is that they have passed away. That's what I thought. I didn't think that it means merging with the Brahmajyoti.
Yes, basically what they mean is, and so it's Brahmleen is not usually used for the normal people. So if somebody else in the family will die, nobody would say, oh, that person, my family member, now Brahmleen. But the spiritual people, when the spiritual people, they die, you're right. Usually when they die, if somebody will say, oh, a couple of years back, my guru gone to, or is Brahmleen, when a couple of years back, then you're right. The understanding what we get is that they are no more. They have left their material body. But what exactly Brahmleen means? Why don't we just say that they have left the body? Because Brahmleen, they, like what the leen means is merge, and Brahm is merging in Brahm. So indirectly, they are also saying that my guru is now merged in Brahman. That's what they are indirectly saying, because that's what Brahmleen meant.
Yes.
In the Shastras. Yes. But you're right. They basically what they are trying to say is that the spiritual guru is dead, is no more, has left the material body. That's one part of the story which is true. But the main reflection from the spiritual point of view is that now they have, so they were not normal people like us. They have left their material body, and their spirit soul is actually Brahmleen, which means they have gone to the God. So they have gone back like that. That's what they refer to. Whether they understand this or not is a different thing. But a lot of I can think of at least 4 gurus whom I personally got associated. I was lucky enough. And when they left the body, all their disciples, they said, and they still say that they are Brahmleen. And and some of them, especially one of them, he was very old, he was very good, and he himself never considered anything great, and very down to earth. He never said to anyone, then pray to me. And he will do so when the villagers will come, he will be like a villager with them. If somebody else will come and ask them to sit on the royal Singhasan, then he will go and sit on them. So he's like the Lord who reciprocates with the audience as and when you want, what kind of reciprocation you want. So he was very good in that sense.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, so Brahm Jyoti, what we think, and this is where we understand the Goloka chart and Srila Prabhupadaji's and the Gaudiya Math, the way the bigger picture is given. Otherwise, I have been part of different spiritual organizations, and a lot of information missing from there. They all are good. They all are good, but they don't have a bigger picture. They don't have what Srila Prabhupada ji or the organization as such, Gaudiya Math, has been provided here, because a lot of research has gone through. But so this is what my personal experience is. And I still got very good friends with them, and I still attend the congregation as and when I can, because it's all about the Lord. It's all about the Supreme Lord. So directly or indirectly, the glories are towards the God, and we have very good relationships. But yeah, when it comes to what we say tattva, the fundamentals, the clarification, then Goloka chart provides a very clear distinction between it. Like as we started from Lord Krishna to Vaikuntha. So difference between Krishna and Vaikuntha, Goloka Dham, Goloka Vrindavan, and Vaikuntha, difference between Krishna and Vishnu. And now when we're moving towards Lord Shiva, then we will see Brahmaji, 3 different types of Vishnus. So all these clarifications are very, very clear if we follow the Goloka chart, and that's the beauty of it.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for that question. Now moving on, so it says Brahm Jyoti. So Brahm Jyoti, so Brahm is for Brahman, and we will see what Brahman is. But Jyoti is in Sanskrit or in Hindi as well. It's what we see, and the word in the Shastras, or the way in English being translated, is effulgence. Effulgence. Now, for example, we have the candle. Now, in the candle, the flame will come out, but with the flame, the light will also come out. So there are 2 different. One is flame, and we can touch the flame, and flame will burn us. But along the flame, the light is also there. If we are in the light, light will not burn us, but we can still make use of the light. And that's what the effulgence is. Now, the Lord is there, and it says, now we might have experienced it. Otherwise, I'm sure in some of the pictures we would have seen not only the pictures of the Lord, but the pictures of the saintly people. Pictures of the saintly people, we have seen the aura behind them.
Yes.
Yeah? And that's another thing what we call effulgence. These people, they have the aura around us. And why the aura is there? Aura is there because of their good qualities. Now, again, if you remember, the whole idea, Hare Krishna, some more devotees joined. So let me know. I'm just doing in English because Mataji was the one. I know Bhargavi Mataji also prefers English. And Harsh Prabhuji. Prabhuji, आप हिंदी prefer करते हैं? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji dono. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. अपने आशीष प्रभु जी हैं जो यूजली हिंदी प्रेफर करते हैं, और जो कि सही बात है, होना भी चाहिए, लेकिन प्रभु जी आज है नहीं, तो मैंने सोचा कि हम इंग्लिश में रखें. सो हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी मैं बीच बीच में हिंदी भी बोलूंगा अगर कोई ऐसे वर्ड्स वगैरह हैं, लेकिन फिर भी आप कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो तो प्लीज आप रोकिएगा, बताइएगा. हरे कृष्णा. तो हमने गोलोक धाम डिस्कस किया, हमने भगवान राम का साकेत डिस्कस किया, अयोध्या, हमने वैकुंठ धाम डिस्कस किया. अब हम वैकुंठ धाम से नीचे मटेरियल वर्ल्ड की तरफ जा रहे हैं, और बीच में हमें ब्रह्म ज्योति, ब्रह्मन, और फिर शिव लोक, और फिर हम महाविष्णु, ये सब हम देखेंगे. सो करंटली वी आर ऑन ब्रह्म ज्योति. तो ब्रह्म ज्योति हम कहते हैं, जैसे कि हमने बात करी, कैंडल, एक अगर मोमबत्ती है, मोमबत्ती से जैसे कि लाइट निकलती है, मोमबत्ती में जो फ्लेम होती है, तो अगर तो हम जो उसकी ज्योति है उसके अंदर है तो हमें बेनिफिट होता है. इसी तरीके से जैसे महापुरुष होते हैं, उनके चारों तरफ भी हम एक ऑरा देखते हैं. वो aura उनके अंदर जो अच्छी qualities होती हैं उसकी वजह से होता है. So the similar way we understand the aura is around the saintly people because of their good qualities, but there is only one person who has all the best qualities, and that's Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna, and this is what Brahmaji also says in Brahm Stuti, that so Lord exhibits a lot of qualities in different incarnations. So Lord is 100%, but Lord might come down as Lord Rama, and then he might only exhibit 60% or 80% of his qualities, because the mood and the mission of that particular incarnation is only that bit. And the similar thing for Narasimhadev, for Varahadev. But when Lord Krishna comes himself, then he's there as a normal person, as himself, which is like 100% of himself. Because that's not the incarnation. God has just descended himself. Right? So it's like if a grandfather is there, sometimes he will send his son, or he might get old and he might send his grandchild somewhere to represent his family. But maybe once he's feeling well, or he is in a good health, he wants to go, maybe because that's the gathering he really dear for, he will go himself. So that's how we can understand. Now the grandson or the son of the father or the grandfather is very similar in qualities. You would expect, or could be a representative, but still there is a difference between, and that's the difference between all other incarnations of the Lord and the Lord himself. So now in Brahm Jyoti, what happened? We say Brahm Jyoti is the effulgence of the Lord, because Lord has all the qualities. So even the saintly persons have the aura around them, right? But Lord is the one who has all the qualities. So the effulgence is much, much higher. And this is called as Brahm Jyoti. Now, if we see, so what this says here, that the effulgence of the Lord is also known as Brahman, not to be confused with Lord Brahma. Now, the difference between Lord Brahma and Brahman should be very clearly, because the words are very similar, and sometimes we get, in Hindi, we say Brahmit. Sometimes we get confused. So Brahma is a post. So I could become Brahma, you could become Brahma. Anyone who has the qualification and is qualified enough, Brahma could become Brahma. Okay. But Brahman is the impersonal form of Lord. Now again, Brahma is the post of someone. Brahma is a post, and we will see what Brahma's post is. So Brahma is a post, a role, like in a school, we have a teacher, a principal, and in the companies, we have CEO, head of the department. That could be anyone who is qualified enough to be. But when we say, oh, this is the head of engineering, this is the head of accounts, then that is the role. Who is the head of account this year or this month or today is different than next year or last year. Similar thing, Brahma, who is Brahma now, who is Brahma last year or next year is a different. And when I said last year or next year, that's Brahma's year, because Brahma's years are very much different than our earthly planet's years. So what Brahman is that impersonal form of the Lord. So there is a personal form. We can see, oh, this is Krishna, right? So somebody can look at me and say, oh, this is Govinda. Somebody can look at somebody, oh, this is Prabhuji, this is Mataji, right? So this is the personal form. But then if the person is not there, but the person could manifest. And now it's very hard for material people. But if we think about sun, so we can see or we can feel sunlight, right? And we can say, oh, sun is there. So even if we are sitting on or laying down on the beach, sunlight is falling over us, our eyes are closed, we can say, oh, sun is there. How do we know that? Because of sunlight, because of the qualities of the sun, we can say sun is there. Right? Very similar way, the quality, even if we cannot see the Lord, we can see or we can feel Brahman, we can feel the impersonal form. Impersonal form means the qualities of the Lord. We can feel it or we can see it. And we will see more about it. Those spiritualists who believe that God has no form and have a desire to be God can attain this part of spiritual world. Now in the next slide, we will see what happens that a lot of Gyanis, they focus on impersonal form of Lord. They just focus on the qualities of the Lord. So what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right at the end of the birth, when we die, then, so everybody gets a birth, and then we live the life. Right at the end, when the death comes, the last consciousness we have, consciousness, not where our body is, not what our body is eating, but where our consciousness is. Now we might be thinking about holiday, we might be thinking about our family, we might be thinking about the Lord if we are blessed enough. And that's the reason when in the devotee family, if somebody is on deathbed, we know the person is going to die in few moments or few hours, then we always have Sankirtan going on, the name of the Lord, because the chances are, if the person, even in that stage, if the person will hear, because eyes might not work, but the ears, they usually work. And if the person is hearing Sankirtan, hearing Mahamantra, hearing the name of the Lord, then maybe the consciousness will change and the person will think about Krishna. So that's the best thing. So whenever somebody is dying, the best thing we could do is we can do the Sankirtan. We can tell the story also, but Sankirtan probably is the best thing, because in Sankirtan, especially in Mahamantra, each and every word is the name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. So Hare Krishna, Rama. 3 words are there, and all 3 are the name of the Lord. So if we say that, then the chances are, if the person is hearing, listening, then person is thinking, and person is thinking, person's consciousness will change, and person will leave. But a lot of Gyanis, they have so much control over themselves, they can decide that when do they want to leave their body. And not only that, they have the control, where do they want their consciousness to go. For example, we have seen Bhishma Pitama, and there are many more examples. And it says in Thailand, there is actually a book of Dead. And what that book is, in Thailand, because Thai meditation is very famous, and most of them are Buddhist. And in Buddhism, the best thing they could do is meditation. Now, chanting, what we do, chanting every morning, 2 hours or quarter to 2, that's also meditation. What we call that as chanting meditation or japa meditation, japa dhyan. So this is also meditation, because we focus and we take the name of the Lord, and our whole focus, the whole consciousness is there. And during those couple of hours every day, we are not thinking about material thing, and our focus is on the Lord. But similarly, Buddhist meditation also there, and they also practice on their own thing. And they reach, some of them, they reach to that perfection that they can decide when they are leaving the body. And this is, so some of the great teachers, they do that, and it's very possible for them. Hare Krishna. Remdi Note 9 Pro, it says. Please, is it Prabhuji or Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Good to hear from you. Yes, please, Prabhuji.
प्रभुजी, मैं ये बताऊं जी कि यो स्पिरिचुअलिटी और जो मटेरियलिस्टिक है, उनके बीच में जो डिवीजन करता है यो दोनों को, वो कौन सा है? वो ब्रह्म ज्योति है या वो सदाशिव जो लोग है?
बहुत अच्छा प्रभुजी, बहुत अच्छा. हरे कृष्ण. सो प्रभुजी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा है कि ये यहाँ पे ब्रह्म ज्योति है वो या सदाशिव है वो, आध्यात्म से भौतिक, स्पिरिचुअल एंड मटेरियल के बीच में कौन सा स्टेप है? सो प्रभुजी, if you see, let me see if I can draw. If you see this line there, प्रभु जी अगर आप ये लाइन देखें, so इस लाइन के
जी जी
ऊपर जितना भी है ये सब स्पिरिचुअल है, इसके नीचे यहाँ पे मटेरियल अभी शुरू नहीं हुआ है लेकिन मटेरियल बनना शुरू होने वाला है। इसके ऊपर तो सारा स्पिरिचुअल है लेकिन इसके नीचे मटेरियल अभी शुरू नहीं हुआ है। ये हिस्सा जितना भी है यहाँ पे मटेरियल वर्ल्ड की शुरुआत होगी। ये ऐसे है जैसे कि आप देखें हम घर में रोटी बनाते हैं, रोटी के लिए पहले हम सूखा आटा निकालते हैं, सूखे आटे के अंदर फिर हम पानी मिलाते हैं, फिर उसे गूंदते हैं, गूंदने के बाद में वो आटा बन जाता है। आटा क्या कहते हैं उसे, लोई बनाते हैं, उसकी हम निकाल के छोटी छोटी। अभी तक चपाती नहीं बनी है, अभी तक रोटी नहीं बनी है। तो जो रोटी है वो मटीरियल है लेकिन उसके लिए जो अलग अलग इंग्रेडिएंट्स हैं, उसके जो अलग अलग प्रोसेस है, वो सारा प्रोसेस यहाँ हो रहा है बीच में। तो इसको यूजली हम शिवलोक कह देते हैं। वैसे ये शिवलोक से बड़ा है, शिव जी यहाँ पे, शिव जी और दुर्गा माता यहाँ पर हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पे महाविष्णु भी है। तो अभी हम यहाँ से आगे चलते हैं तो वही देखते हैं। अगर
थैंक यू
अगर हरे कृष्ण, अगर हम सिर्फ ब्रह्म ज्योति की बात करते हैं, so if we only talk about Brahm Jyoti, then Brahm Jyoti is spiritual. Shiv, if we talk about Sadashiv Lok, that's a spiritual. But when we talk about Mahakal, so Sadashiv, Mahakal, Shambhu, Shiv, Rudra, they all are Shiv जी। तो ये सब भगवान शिव के ही रूप है। जैसे हम कहते हैं एक विष्णु तत्व होता है, एक शिव तत्व होता है, और शिव तत्व भी जैसे हमने देखा विष्णु तत्व का ही एक रूप होता है, लेकिन फिर एक बार शिव तत्व शुरू हो गए तो शिव तत्व का अपना एक रोल प्ले होता है। तो वहां से शिव जी जो है वो स्पिरिचुअल है। जैसे ब्रह्मा है वो मटेरियल है लेकिन शिव जी स्पिरिचुअल है। सो सदा शिव जो है वो एक स्पिरिचुअल धाम है, और शिव जी के जो जितने भी उपासक हैं, डिवोटीज हैं, वो सारे के सारे सदा शिव में जाएंगे, जो कि स्पिरिचुअल है, जो कि अपना आध्यात्मिक जगत है, जो कि बहुत अच्छा है। सो वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन प्रोफेसर, थैंक यू सो मच। सो लेट्स कंटिन्यू। सो दिस इज ब्रह्म ज्योति। सो ब्रह्म ज्योति से हम निकले। अच्छा मैं इसे अगर हटा दूं, लेट मी जस्ट इरेज इट ऑल। Okay, so Brahm Jyoti, we started from Brahm Jyoti. Now Brahm Jyoti is the one. What happens if you think about, अगर हम सोचें अध्यात्म को, अध्यात्म अगर एक जगत की तरह है, वहां से एक रोशनी निकलते हुए बाहर आ रही है। आध्यात्मिक जगत से एक गैप है, एक छोटा सा, वहां से ब्रह्म ज्योति निकलती हुई बाहर आ रही है। वहां पे अब एक रिवर है। So from now we are coming out of spiritual world, but the material world has not started yet. Material world has not begun yet. Material world has not been created yet. So this is one of the best description we can find. How, not why, but how. तो यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं कि हम ये नहीं देख रहे कि क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है, हम ये देख रहे हैं कैसे हो रहा है। हम हाउ के ऊपर फोकस कर रहे हैं, वाई के ऊपर नहीं। वाई भी हम डिस्कस कर सकते हैं, लेकिन प्रोसेस क्या है अभी हम उसको समझने की कोशिश करेंगे। कि आध्यात्मिक जगत से एक रोशनी निकलती है जो कि ब्रह्म ज्योति है। ब्रह्म ज्योति से अब आगे क्या होगा, लेकिन वहां पे जैसे हम आध्यात्मिक जगत से बाहर निकलते हैं, वहां पे एक नदी है, रिवर है, और उसका नाम है विराज, या उसको हम कारण ओशियन भी कहते हैं। इंग्लिश में हम इसे कॉजल ओशियन भी कहते हैं। कॉजल जो हम कॉज एंड इफेक्ट कहते हैं, कॉज का मतलब रीजन क्या है, तो वो कारण क्या है इसका। सो दैट्स व्हाट वी आल्सो कॉल इट कारण, और कारणो दक्षाय विष्णु। Daksha is the resident, the one who is the resident of Karna ocean. But otherwise, Viraj river is very famous. So, if we see, we have clouds here on the left and on the right. We have clouds. These clouds are made up of Vedas. Now, Vedas are also there in material world. Vedas originated from a spiritual world, but they are also in the transition. So जो वेद हैं, जो 4 वेद हैं, वो हमारे आध्यात्मिक जगत में है, वो हमारे भौतिक जगत में भी है, और वो दोनों के बीच में जो अब हम हिस्सा डिस्कस कर रहे हैं उसके अंदर भी है। यहाँ पे जो वेद हैं, वेदों ने एक बहुत बड़ा क्लाउड बनाया है. मैं डिफरेंट टर्मिनोलॉजी यूज कर रहा हूँ. I'm using a different terminology, what it says in the Shastras for the easy understanding. So हमारी समझ के लिए अगर हम समझें कि वेद जो हैं, वेदों से हमारा एक बहुत बड़ा क्लाउड बना है, और वो जो क्लाउड है वो एक नदी के अंदर बह रहा है. So there is a river called Viraj. In the Viraj river there is a big cloud. Cloud is made up of Vedas, and in that we get, and not sure if you can see it here, but I'm showing Goloka chart. This is a screenshot of Goloka chart. But in Goloka chart, you could see that this Mahavishnu, there is a light on top of this Mahavishnu, and this light is straight going to Goloka Dham, to Krishna. So from Krishna, now we get the very first Vishnu called Mahavishnu. तो भगवान कृष्ण से सबसे पहले जो विष्णु हैं वो यहाँ पे आ रहे हैं. इनका नाम है कार्णोदक्षाय विष्णु, या फिर इनके शरीर की वजह से हम इनको कहते हैं महाविष्णु. So just because of the sheer size of it, we call him Mahavishnu. Now, why Mahavishnu? And you might have seen a lot of, if in Google you will put Mahavishnu, you will see magnificent, very, very, very gigantic, or people get gigantic. So big, very big size of Mahavishnu. Now, what happens from there, we will see. Let's come back. So, we say that Brahmjyoti is not what we desire, the devotees. Devotees of Krishna, they don't desire Brahmjyoti because there is no seva in Brahmjyoti. Now, another thing you might have remember, in the Goloka chart on the left hand side, division of rasas are given. And so they are Shanta rasa, Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. So in the sequence. Now Shanta rasa is there before Dasya rasa. Shanta is like a stone. Stone is there. Stone is Shanta, saturated. Right? And those devotees who pray to Krishna in impersonal form, and those who get Brahmleen, they merge into Brahman, like Brahm Kumari, and there are many more, what we call Shunyavadi. They go to Brahmjyoti. And so Brahmjyoti is like a place, and they will just go there. They don't have any service to do there. Right? No service. Now, if you go to Swarg, you will enjoy. Hardly any service to do. So if you see all the scriptures, very, very, very rare you will see any demigod praying to the Lord. Or they will only pray to the God when they are in distress, when they need, not when they want. Right. तो अगर हम देखेंगे कि ब्रह्मज्योति एक ऐसी जगह होती है जहां पे शांत रस के जो भक्त होते हैं वो जाते हैं, लेकिन शांत रस में हम बहुत ज्यादा रह नहीं पाते क्योंकि उसमें कोई सेवा नहीं है. शांत रस में कोई इंटरैक्शन नहीं है भगवान के साथ में. आप बस वहां जाएंगे. हाँ, जो मटेरियल वर्ल्ड के अंदर हमें दिक्कत होती हैं, ओल्ड एज, डिजीजेस, मृत्यु, any kind of suffering, none of them will be there. So in Brahmjyoti, because Brahmjyoti is a spiritual place and it's like a Vaikuntha, there won't be any distress, there won't be any old age, there won't be any kind of diseases. So none of those material sufferings will be there. But the benefit of spiritual, what devotees desire, the interaction with the Lord or the devotees of the Lord will not be there. So if there are two people in Shantrasa, they are just there, like frozen. Right? You see what we do in the home when we have some leftover prasadam, we put that in the fridge. Why? Because now it's going to be going into the cold. It's not going to react. When it's outside the fridge, it will react with the atmosphere. When it's inside, it will go into the cold storage, so it will stop reacting, or very slow reaction. We will put in the fridge, hardly any reaction. And that's what we meant in Brahmjyoti. तो ब्रह्मज्योति के अंदर जब भक्त जाते हैं, तो बिल्कुल ऐसे होते हैं जैसे हम खाने को बाहर रखते हैं तो खाना जो भी एटमॉस्फेयर है उसके साथ में रिएक्ट होकर धीरे धीरे खराब हो जाता है, राइट। लेकिन जब हम फ्रिज में रखते हैं तो वो इंटरेक्ट होना कम हो जाता है, और जब फ्रीजर में रखते हैं तो वो बहुत ही कम इंटरेक्ट होता है, इस वजह से वो लंबा चलता है। तो ब्रह्म ज्योति में यही होता है कि हम मटेरियल से स्पिरिचुअल में चले जाते हैं, लेकिन वहां जाके हम एक तरीके से फ्रीज हो जाते हैं। मटेरियल हमको कोई वहां पे दुख दर्द, किसी भी तरीके की परेशानी, कोई डिस्ट्रेस, कोई एंजाइटी नहीं होती है। पर वहां पे एक बहुत बड़ी चीज मिसिंग है जो भक्त को चाहिए होती है, वहां पे डिवोशनल सर्विस नहीं होती है कोई भक्त के लिए। That's the reason devotees don't want to go. In fact, in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says this kind of liberation is actually a curse. भक्त को अगर कहा जाए कि आपको यहाँ जगत में रहना है, जो आपको बहुत दिक्कत होगी जगत के अंदर, मालूम नहीं कब आपकी जॉब चली जाए, मालूम नहीं कब कोविड आ जाए, यहाँ पे बहुत दिक्कत होगी आपको। अगर ये ना देखें तो गर्मी सर्दी तो पड़ती रहेगी, इंग्लैंड के अंदर सर्दी पड़ती रहेगी, बारिश पड़ती रहेगी, कहीं रेगिस्तान दुबई मस्कट में है तो गर्मी पड़ती रहेगी। तो यहाँ पे दिक्कत रहेगी। आप यहाँ पे रहना चाहेंगे या आप ब्रह्म ज्योति में जाएंगे? तो भक्त कहेगा मैं यहीं पे, ये वाली जो दिक्कत है वो ज्यादा अच्छा है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे इन सब दिक्कतों के साथ में मुझे भक्ति करने को मिलेगी, मेरे को भक्तों का संग मिलेगा, मैं डिवोशनल सर्विस कर सकता हूँ। लेकिन अगर कहीं मैं ब्रह्म ज्योति में पहुंच गया तो वहां तो ये सारी मटीरियल दिक्कत नहीं होगी मेरे को, लेकिन स्पिरिचुअल बेनिफिट भी नहीं होगा मेरे को। सो दिस इज वो भी कंसीडर काइंड ऑफ लिम्बो। एक वर्ड आता है कि वहां जाके हम एक्चुअली बीच में हैंग हो जाएंगे, ना इधर के ना उधर के, बीच में। और फिर usually what Acharya says that after a long time the devotee there will get very bored and will decide to come back on material world, and then they will get into devotional service and become a Vishnu Bhakt, a Vaishnav, and then will start. That's why this is considered as a curse for a devotee. So we never aim for Brahm Jyoti. We don't want to go into Brahmleen. Similarly, we don't want to go to Swarg. तो भारतवर्ष में, हिंदुस्तान में अक्सर ये कहा जाता है अगर कोई मर जाता है कि वो स्वर्गीय हो गए हैं, अरे आपके स्वर्गीय वो। तो भक्त स्वर्गीय नहीं होना चाहते, क्योंकि भक्त स्वर्ग नहीं जाना चाहते, क्योंकि भक्तों को मालूम है कि स्वर्ग जो है वो भी मटीरियल है। सो द डिवोटीज नो वेरी वेल द स्वर्ग इटसेल्फ इज मटीरियल, and after Brahm Jyotis and all, we will see the material world and we will see the heaven there, and we will see Indra there, we will see all the demigods there, and then we will understand even better. So now if we continue, then we will see what happens in Brahm Jyoti. So what Krishna says, Bhagavan, in chapter 2 verse 22, we are individual souls, right? And there's a verse as well, nahanyate hanyamane sharire. So the sharir, the body will go down, but the soul will never. And that's the meaning. Sometimes people think like the river. No, this is very good understanding for us, because as I said, from the Goloka chart, if we understand, then this is like a foundation for our spirituality. And we can discuss this with anyone. So those Shunyavadi or Brahmleen, Brahmkumaris, all of them, again, they are very nice, no criticism there. But if somebody will say, and a lot of devotees, I always consider everyone as devotees, especially whether they are going towards one or other side of the spirituality. But a lot of devotees, they consider, they say that it's like the journey is like a river going towards the ocean. So the river is going towards the ocean. Ocean is the Lord and we are the river. And the river is going to merge in the ocean. Now, once the river has merged into the ocean, within the ocean, we cannot identify river. अगर हम सोच के देखें, अगर हम अपने आप को एक नदी की तरह मानते हैं और एक ओशियन है, सी है, समुद्र है, महासागर है, अगर एक नदी महासागर की तरफ जा रही है, जब वो नदी महासागर में मिल जाती है, उसका सारा पानी महासागर में डल जाता है, उसके बाद में महासागर के अंदर कहीं पे भी हम पॉइंट करके ये नहीं कह सकते ओ इस महासागर के अंदर ये जो पानी है ये उस नदी का है। अब वो नदी का पानी महासागर में मिल चुका है। सो दिस इज व्हाट वी कंसीडर एज ब्रह्म ज्योति। वेल दिस इज व्हाट others consider as merging in the Lord. But there is one conflict there, that in that the existence of the river is gone. As we said, the river is not identified anymore in the ocean. अब हम महासागर के अंदर नदी को ढूंढ ही नहीं सकते, तो उस नदी का क्या हुआ? वो नदी का अस्तित्व खत्म हो गया। लेकिन अगर हम देखें भगवद गीता चैप्टर 2 वर्स 12 के अंदर भगवान कह रहे हैं कि हम सभी इंडिविजुअल सोल्स हैं हमेशा हमेशा के लिए, which means we could never merge into the Lord. The merging into the Lord is not like the river merging into the ocean. The merging into, like what we say, Brahm Jyoti, is just that individual soul will reach to a place which is full of light and no activity is going, and we will be in Shanta Rasa. तो जब बाकी लोग ऐसा कहते हैं, जब वो ये मानते हैं कि जिस तरीके से समुद्र महासागर में मिलता है वो हमारी सोच नहीं है, क्योंकि वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट करता है, वो विचारधारा यहाँ पे गलत साबित होती है, क्योंकि भगवान ने ये कहा है कि हर एक आत्मा अलग अलग आत्मा जो है वो हमेशा बनी रहती है। भगवान ने चैप्टर 4 में भी यही कहा अर्जुन को कि अर्जुन आपको याद नहीं है, लेकिन मैं पहले भी था, बाद में भी हूं, हमारे बहुत जन्म पहले भी हो चुके हैं और आगे भी होंगे। वो आपको याद नहीं लेकिन मुझे है। और हम कभी भी आत्मा को ना पानी जला सकता है, ना आग जला सकती है, ना पानी गीला कर सकता है। चैप्टर 2 आत्मज्ञान। So if we think about it, the only when others say merging, they are basically referring to Brahm Jyoti, the presence of someone in Brahm Jyoti, not the merging in the Lord. That's not possible, because the existence of the spirit soul will always be there. So this is what we consider. This is the clear understanding about it. Right? So if we continue with that, then, well, there are many different ones. We have discussed this, right? What it says, however, the world is perfectly imperfect. The soul is always frustrated due to the, what it says, samsara. This is also used in Buddhism. It says 4 noble truths: birth, death, old age, disease. So these 4 things, they don't happen in Brahm Jyoti. So this is the benefit of being in Brahm Jyoti. But the downside of Brahm Jyoti, we don't have devotional service, and we will get bored and we will fall down in material world, and then we will have to start again. So we better not try to reach to Brahm Jyoti. We better start with the devotional services straight away. तो हम ये चारों चीजें, हम जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि, जो 4 हमारे क्लेश होते हैं इस भौतिक संसार में, हमको वो नहीं मिलेंगे ब्रह्म ज्योति में, लेकिन हमें वहां पे भक्ति करने का भी मौका नहीं मिलेगा। इस वजह से हम इन चारों के साथ में यहाँ पे जूझते हैं, और हम ये कोशिश करते हैं कि ब्रह्म ज्योति की तरफ ना ही जाएं, क्योंकि वहां जाकर भी हमको वापस लौटना ही पड़ेगा। जैसे स्वर्ग में भी अगर हम जाएं तो हमें वापस लौटना ही पड़ेगा। इसी तरीके से हम देखें, सो we need to establish the eternal relationship with the Lord. Right? It says, what is the purpose of the life? The purpose of the life is to identify our true nature and the relationship with Krishna. That's it. Who are we? Who is Krishna? Who are we? And what's our relationship? That's it. Simple. This is what in simplicity Bhagavad Gita teaches us. We need to understand ourselves. We need to understand who is the Lord. We need to understand the relationship with Lord. And of course, then reinstate that relationship. And then going forward, what will happen once we have reestablished that relationship? In very simplicity, this is what Vedic Dharma is. Right. Okay, so we still have 10 minutes. We will introduce the three aspects of God, because this is very important. ये हमारे लिए बहुत ही जरूरी है समझना, और इसको समझने के बाद में बहुत सारी ऐसी confusions हैं जो दूर हो जाती हैं. lot of confusions disappear from understanding this, what we are going to understand now, which is three aspects of Godhead. And that's the reason we do it again and again and again, because there are a lot of details in them. And even though we think or we have understood, it's easy to get confused between that. But we will see. So some of you might have heard this before. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. By chanting the Maha Mantra, is it that we purify ourselves and we remove all these anarthas from the heart? And once we become purified, that is the way to progress further in our spiritual life and reach to the spiritual world. Is it?
Very well. Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yes, that's the whole idea, Mataji. You summarized it very nicely. We are full of anarthas. When we take the name of the Lord, we purify ourselves. Next time, any action we do, now action could be done in three ways. We can think, we can speak, or we can do. Whenever we take any of those actions, any of those three different types of actions, we will be free of anarthas. So when we don't have these anarthas, our consciousness will improve gradually. And then at the time of death, we might have pure consciousness, devoid of any anarthas. And that's the best. That's where we can say Krishna consciousness. So it says that we of course all have Paramatma along with our Atma. But the reason we cannot feel the presence of Paramatma is because we are full of anarthas. When we don't have anarthas, then we can easily see Paramatma. A lot of people say, oh, this is the gut feeling. People say, I don't know, I felt like doing this. Good or bad? Good because Paramatma made us do it. Bad because Maya Devi made us do it. And this is what we say, that we are not the doers, but our desires, they make us do things. Very nicely, man. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Right. So, three aspects of Godhead. We see Krishna is there. So the Supreme Personality of God is there. When nothing was there, Krishna was still there. Right? Because Krishna is the basis of everything. And then, so we say Krishna is the absolute truth, right? Who is the Supreme Personality of God. And why the reason again and again Srila Prabhupada ji said personality? Because a lot of highly intellect devotees from different sampradayas, they mainly focused on impersonal form of Krishna. Now see, there's nothing wrong if somebody will say, oh, I like the sun radiations. I like the sun energy. Because when sun's energy is there, I feel very good, right? So some of the people, they might give more importance to the sunlight and sun radiations, the energy from the sun, and they are not bothered about sun. Maybe because they have not seen sun, because they have always seen the clouds in between, right? Maybe they don't know that these sunlight, sun radiation, sun energies, they all come from sun. They only glorify what they see, and that's sun's radiation, sun's energy, right? They don't glorify sun because sun is not visible to them. But we have to understand, if the light is there, if the energy is there, that means the fire has to be somewhere. If we are in a jungle, we see the smoke, or we feel the heat energy. We say, oh, the fire must be somewhere, because we feel the heat or we see the smoke. So the source must be there. Similarly, what Srila Prabhupada's focus is the sun, the fire. But impersonalists, their focus is main on the energy. Right? Now, it's not bad if somebody's focus is only on impersonalist energy, But where things go wrong, when people say energies are there, but the source is not there. So now if somebody will say, okay, I'm not bothered, or I don't know if the sun is there or not. I'm happy with the sunlight, and I will glorify sunlight. Nothing wrong. But when somebody will say, actually, sun is not there, or sun comes later, first comes the sunlight, then things are wrong. Because it's not, if we only have the partial truth, we know the partial truth, but nothing wrong, because we only know the partial truth, right? We don't have a complete visibility. But when we say this partial truth is the only truth, then we are wrong, right? And then we will lead others wrong. So if somebody will come to me, I will say 2 + 2 is 4. And somebody will say, what about 3 + 3? Now I can say, well, I only know about 2 + 2. So I'm not wrong, because 2 + 2 is 4. I know, I have realized it, and I'm sharing with everyone. It's incomplete truth, but this is still the truth. But when I will say 2 + 2 is the only truth, forget about 3 + 3. There is nothing 3 + 3. Then it's wrong. And this is the main thing between impersonalist and personalist. Now, as long as impersonalists will say, okay, Krishna is there, but I don't know about it. How about you tell me something? Or maybe at this point, I don't want to know. That's okay. They are not ready for it. But when somebody will say, oh, no. Impersonalist is higher than personalist. First the fire comes, first the smoke comes, then later on the source comes, then something is wrong. So this is why we say the absolute truth is there, and that absolute truth is actually the Supreme Personality of Krishna, right? But when we say absolute truth, then the very first thing is Brahman. Now Brahman is what we can consider as the sunlight, the sun radiations, those qualities of the God, right? Now in Bhagavatam, there is a very nice description that in our body, तो हमारे शरीर के अंदर, शरीर के हर बॉडी पार्ट में, हमारे नाक को, हमारे, हम कहते हैं ज्ञान इंद्रिय, तो हर सेंसेस के अंदर, हर इंद्रियों के अंदर, आंख में, कान में, नाक में, मस्तिष्क में, दिमाग में, हमारी जीभा पे, हमारे हाथ में, पैर में, गुदा में. So each and every body part of our body has a demigod. Because of that demigod, those body parts are working. But if only those demigods are there, nothing will happen. When Paramatma, when the part of the Lord enters in the body, then the body wakes up. So this is the whole scenario in Bhagavatam given. When each one by one, the mention of the whole body and the whole deities, who is the deity of which organ is there, that's mentioned. And one by one, they all enter, but nothing happens. The body does not wake up. And then Paramatma enters, and then the body wakes up. So now we always say when the person is dead, the body is there right in front of us. Why do we consider the body as dead? Because the symptom is the person is in consciousness. Now sometimes we say, oh, person is sleeping as he's dead. Why? Because he's unconscious. In his sleep, we call it deep sleep. Is actually very close to the death. You say, so that's another topic for another day, I guess. But the consciousness is the symptom. So जो हमारे अंदर जागरूकता होती है, वो हमारे अंदर आत्मा है, उसका साइन है. अगर हमारा शरीर अब जागरूक नहीं है, कॉन्शियस नहीं है, इसका मतलब उसमें से आत्मा निकल चुकी है. इसका मतलब आत्मा की वजह से शरीर चल रहा था. तो वो जो आत्मा थी, आत्मा की पूरी एनर्जी थी, जो कॉन्शियसनेस थी, उसको हम अगर देखें तो वो एक तरीके से ब्रह्मन के रूप में हर जगह विद्यमान है. हम कहते हैं भगवान का अंश हर जगह है. तो ब्रह्मन, भगवान की ही वजह से सारी चीजें चल रही हैं, वो ब्रह्मन है. इसलिए अद्वैत के अंदर, अद्वैत फिलॉसफी advocates about Brahman, and that's true, because everything is because of God, and that's called Brahman. Everything we see, everything we touch is because of Brahman, and that's true. And they also say we all are Brahman. That's also true. because we are part and parcel of Krishna. That's true. So it says impersonal, all pervasive spirit, like sunshine, right? So sun is there, sunshine goes everywhere. Now sunshine would never differentiate. Sunshine will never differentiate whether the person is black, white, blue, brown, green, yellow, or whether the person is rich, poor, person is in India, England, America, or person is on earth, or person is on moon, right? That's Brahman. That's sunlight. That's Krishna's energy. Krishna himself said, I don't differentiate with everyone. So this is what Brahman is. Now we will move forward from Brahman, and we will start that next week. But this is what we think about. This is Brahman should be. Maybe next week we will, if we can think of different ways, and I will try to get some questions on Brahman as well. So when we get the questions and the scenarios in our mind, then things get even more clearer, right? Otherwise, when we will see other two aspects of Krishna, Lord, then also it will become very clear. Okay. So if anyone has any comments or any question, please let me know. And sorry, I was also thinking, is it possible if we, because we start UK time, we start 9:30. Can we do 9 o'clock instead, or is it too early?
Too early.
Too early. Okay, we will stick to 9:30.
Stick to 9:30, yes.
Sure, Mataji. There you go.
Prabhuji,
yes, please.
can I ask a question? It's something that I want to clear, has been there in my mind for a long time. You know,
Please.
this, when you say that this is the sunshine, is what we see out, isn't it? So when the
Yes.
sun is shining, when sun is out, we see the sunshine. But that is not Brahm Jyoti, because Brahm Jyoti is in the spiritual world, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So there is a difference between Brahman and Brahm Jyoti.
Yes.
Now, Brahman is the basis of everything we see now, because everything is because of Lord. So we see the tree, and tree is there because Krishna wants the tree to be there. So part of Krishna is there in the tree. So we can say this tree is actually Brahman, which means this tree is also the energy of Krishna, which is right, because we all are parts. So that's what we refer to as Brahman. But Brahm Jyoti is the destination of someone who, when leaves the body, only thinking about the energy of the Krishna, thinking about the Brahman, and that person will go to the Brahm Jyoti.
Yes. Okay.
So
Very
Brahman is the concept, what we see now, but Brahm Jyoti is the destination.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. And Prabhuji, Ramdi Prabhuji, you had, I think you had your hand raised. Prabhuji, aap kuch?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna. Yes.
प्रभु जी, आपका व्हाट्सएप नंबर है, तो क्या मैं एक चार्ट है जो
हाँ जी।
हमें मतलब गुरु जी से मिला था, तो
जी, जी।
क्या हम उस पे कुछ डिटेल में बात कर सकते हैं व्हाट्सएप पे?
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल प्रभु जी, बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं आप।
मैं आपको अभी सेंड कर देता हूँ।
हाँ जी, ठीक है प्रभु जी, मेरा ठीक है प्रभु जी। तो अभी तो हम क्लास एंड करते हैं क्योंकि समय हो गया है, लेकिन अगर आप क्लास में डिस्कस करना चाहते हैं तो आप मेरे को भेज दीजिए। नेक्स्ट क्लास के अंदर मैं वो कंप्यूटर में शेयर कर लूंगा सबके साथ, फिर हम उसके ऊपर डिस्कस कर लेंगे। ठीक है प्रभु जी? या अगर आप मेरे साथ ही डिस्कस करना चाहते हैं तो आप मेरे को अभी कॉल कर लीजिए व्हाट्सएप पे, हम तब बात कर सकते हैं। लेकिन अगर सबके साथ डिस्कस करना चाहते हैं तो फिर नेक्स्ट हम इंडिया के टाइम से 2 o'clock, इंग्लैंड के टाइम से 9:30 हम नेक्स्ट सैटरडे मॉर्निंग डिस्कस कर लेंगे।
ओके प्रभु जी, मैं आपको अभी व्हाट्सएप पे शेयर कर देता हूँ, तो
हाँ जी।
आप नेक्स्ट क्लास पे सभी को मतलब समझा दीजिए।
बिल्कुल प्रभु जी, बहुत अच्छी बात है। ऐसी किसी के भी पास कोई भी स्पिरिचुअल चीज हो तो जरूर, हम इसलिए हम कहते हैं कि ये डिस्कशन है, हम आपस में एक दूसरे के साथ में डिस्कस कर सकते हैं। सो वी आर द पैसेंजर्स टुवर्ड्स द सेम डेस्टिनेशन, सो वी शुड हेल्प। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर,
थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण।
धन्यवाद, प्रणाम। श्रील
हरे
प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरुदेव की जय,
जय
सभी भक्तवृंद की जय। जय जय
जय
श्री राधे।
श्री
हरे कृष्ण। थैंक यू
हरे
सो मच।